The night was young, but darkness had already consumed the world. A lone figure walked along a desolate road.
His name was Samir, and he was far from home. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth, and the silence was broken only by the sound of his own footsteps.
Samir quickened his pace. He shouldn't have taken this shortcut. Every fiber of his being screamed at him to turn back, but there was no turning back now. He was committed to this path.
The wind picked up, whispering through the trees that lined the road. Their branches twisted and turned like skeletal fingers reaching out to grab him.
Samir shuddered. He felt a chill run down his spine, and it had nothing to do with the wind. He was being watched. He could feel it in the pit of his stomach. A presence, unseen, followed him. Its eyes were on him, cold and calculating.
Samir's breath caught in his throat. He forced himself to keep walking, each step filled with growing dread. "Hello?" Samir called out, his voice trembling. There was no answer, only the echo of his own voice mocking him.
He stopped, his heart pounding in his chest. He could hear it now. The sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming from behind him.
"Who's there?" he shouted, his voice cracking with fear. He turned slowly, bracing himself for whatever horror awaited him.
A figure emerged from the darkness. It was an old man, hunched over and leaning heavily on a gnarled walking stick.
"Easy, son," the old man said, his voice raspy with age. "I didn't mean to frighten you."
Samir let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. He wasn't sure if he should be relieved or even more terrified. What was an old man doing out here in the middle of nowhere in the dead of night? "What are you doing out here? It's not safe."
The old man chuckled, a dry, humorless sound. "Safe," he said, his eyes twinkling in the darkness. "Nothing is safe on this road, son, not anymore."
Samir felt a shiver run down his spine. The old man's words seemed to hang in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning.
"What do you mean?" Samir asked, his curiosity getting the better of him. "This road, it has a story, doesn't it?"
The old man nodded slowly, his eyes fixed on some distant point beyond Samir's shoulder. "Many stories," he said, his voice barely a whisper, "but none as tragic as that of Jivan Lal."
Samir had never heard the name before, but the way the old man said it sent chills down his spine.
"Jivan Lal was a trader," the old man began, his voice low and mesmerizing. "He traveled this road often, laden with goods from distant lands. He was a kind man, Jivan Lal, always willing to share his fortune with those in need."
Samir listened intently.